What's up everyone and welcome back to the Rough Reactions. My name is Wolfie and today we're going to be taking a look at comic number 15 of the IDW Sonic the Hedgehog comic. Let's take a look. Alright guys, so you know the deal. I'm going to talk about the things I liked, the things I didn't like, and then I'm going to go ahead and give this comic a score. But before we do that, I'm going to summarize the story by opening the page up right here. I'm just going to leave that open down there. That way I can look down and reference it as we cover the story very briefly. Alright, so this comic right here. Wait, before we get into that actually, we should mention these covers, which I'm going to have up in over there, floating overhead over there. These comic covers were done very nicely, I must say. There's 3 covers this time. One has Rough Tumble chasing Sonic and Amy, as you can see here. This is the cover I have. There's one where Sonic is looking quite menacing behind Amy, and another one where Amy is facing down Rough Tumble inside the drill machine, which I want to say is a reference to Tails' Adventures vehicle, but possibly I'm looking into it too hard. Either way, we're going to start off here where the story begins, right after issue number 14, of course, where Amy and Sonic got a hint as to where to look next for Eggman's base. And they get to what is called the Echo Mine. And already starting us off on the first page is a great joke. It's just Sonic and Amy looking at this mountainside. And of course, Eggman's face is plastered on the side of this mountain. And it's like, Sonic's looking like, you know what I like most about Eggman? And then Amy's like, what's that? And Sonic's like, his subtlety. And it's like, yeah, Eggman is about as subtle as a nuclear missile coming down at you. Either way, Sonic and Amy scale down into the Echo Mine to see what's the deal is. And there's some things that are discussed while they're walking down there. Of course, they have the lights because it's dark down there. But you see like what looks like to be a resistance helmet from somebody who was previously wearing it, but it looks like it got damaged, as in that person got shot through the skull. And Amy even makes a note of it saying, we lost a lot of good people too. And it's like, you never really think about it because in Forces it's never really addressed in that way, where it's like, yeah, during the events of Sonic Forces, I'd imagine the 6 months where Sonic wasn't around and they were fighting back against Eggman's forces constantly, you'd have to imagine that there were a lot of casualties. But they never really talk about that in the game, but seeing it kind of addressed in the comics, even if only for a brief moment, really puts things into perspective for you and how dark things could have, like how dark things were for the Sonic continuity for a bit. But we're better now. So I say, until we get to the end of this comic. Don't worry, we'll get there. Amy, of course, continues to talk about what happened during the events of Forces, and Sonic's like, don't worry, you know, we did everything we could, the sacrifices were not in vain, here we are, rebuilding the world as we see fit. Sonic asks Amy what the plan is because he's not sure if anything would be working down here, but of course Amy's like, where there's a base there has to be some sort of backup generator, some sort of switch. When they reach the end of the Echo Mine, they find these abandoned old computers, like she said, and she's like, alright, let's see if we can reboot everything and see if everything works. She flips the switch, everything comes on, electricity comes on, boom, they're in business, as Amy says. And Sonic's like, oh, that's weird. No traps, no badniks. Oh well. Of course, when the systems go online, that pings the, I imagine pings the grid, and Starline comes in to talk to Eggman, saying, Eggman, the base, what they found one of our bases, they started it up, but what do we do? And Eggman's like, ah, yes, perfect. And like Eggman's super sinister, because his sinisterisms continues here. Excuse me. And he's like, alright, Cubot, Cubot, tell Rough Tumble to meet me at the hangar. So, Eggman, we see earlier, before in the first panels where Eggman shows up, he's preparing these weird capsules with what I imagine is the metal virus liquid. I don't know what we're going to call it for now, but it's a metal virus liquid. Once they get to the hangar, Eggman meets Rough Tumble, and they have this great dialogue in this particular book, but Rough Tumble says something along the lines of, we had half a mind to take over the place ourselves, and Eggman kind of makes a little, like, kind of like in little tiny text, so it's like he's muttering to himself, like, half a mind is being generous, but he hands him these backpacks with the capsules on the back of them that has the metallic liquid in it. What I thought was going to happen was he was giving them, like, the liquid to, like, shoot out of the packs on their backs, like there was going to be like, some sort of gun that like a super soaker, like those super soaker backpacks they used to have. But he would like tell them to shoot the virus onto Amy and Sonic, but that's not the case. He basically tells them, go with this creation I have given you, and in case of emergency, hit this button on this pack. He doesn't tell them what it does, because why would he? But everybody already knows where this is leading. Anyway, it also leads to another great panel. Like, this whole page here has some really good dialogue, but of course we end with Eggman revealing his creation to Rough and Tumble that he wants them to use to get there, and the words he used are, "Get a load of this!" I love saying that, it's just so much fun. Anyway, we flash back to Sonic and Amy down back at the Echo Mines, and Sonic's like, oh, it's a login screen, what do we do? Amy hits the password, and she's like, usually his passwords are kind of the same-ish. She types in something along the lines of, I think it's like, I hate that hedgehog, like, what do you call it? Text spelling. It's kind of funny to look at. But once they open up the files, they find that there looks to be some sort of, it looks like the Ark, like a schematic of the Ark. It's the Ark from Sonic Adventure 2. But Amy makes a note that it's actually smaller, and it's some sort of distribution, like a payload distribution, she says. Like, apparently Eggman's gonna use this thing, this Ark-looking creation, to maybe possibly spread that virus, if what I'm reading is correct. But before that happens, before they can get any more information, the whole Echo Mine starts shaking, and boom! Rough and Tumble come in with it looks like a souped up version of Eggman's Sonic 2 vehicle with the drill on the front, or a little reference to Tails' adventure with the, wait, maybe, am I thinking that right? Maybe not. I'll put a correction over here so you guys don't have to. Don't worry, I already know by the time this video comes out. Anyway, Rough and Tumble doing their custom intro, their signature intro. We'll cave in the mines, bury you in the rubble, you're gonna get wrecked by Rough and Tumble. And then that's when Sonic, like, makes fun of him and says, if that's gonna be your thing, you're gonna have to make sure it rhymes. And then, like, Rough and Tumble kind of, like, argue amongst themselves for a bit. Like, we did rhyme. Well, not exactly. What? Rubble and Tumble only kinda rhyme at best. I offered to go by Tumble and Rough. That doesn't flow, and you know it. They're, like, sitting there arguing over the stupid rhyme thing, and you're like... Amy makes a reference. She's like, how did these guys take over a whole town? And Sonic's like... don't worry about that. But it's just like, man, these two are stupid, but I guess, like, they're just that strong that the... Anyway, point being, Amy immediately goes in, she starts swinging with her hammer. It does not work because she's trying to hit a giant drill with it. It bounces off, ricochets quickly, and Rough and Tumble begin firing upon Sonic and Amy. Sonic grabs Amy, starts running off, and that's when they start forming a plan while they're on the run. They reach the end of this long tunnel, and down it looks like it's called a refuse pit. Bottomless pit, basically. The only way down is all the way back up. So, Sonic and Amy concoct a plan to try to make Rough and Tumble fall down in their giant drill vehicle. So, as Rough and Tumble come barreling down this tunnel, they realize, oh crap, it's a... like... by the way, crap is used. Oh no, a G-rated swear word in the Sonic comic. We're getting there. We're almost at shadow levels of cursing here.
Damn, not here.
Damn! Anyway, as Sonic and Amy run around in circles around this bottomless pit, that's when they get this genius plan to... He throws Amy up in the air. Amy with her hammer comes down, shatters the glass that's housing Tumble, and as they get shaken up, the vehicle starts to kind of tilt and fall into the hole. Rough and Tumble have to bail out of the machine unless they wind up falling forever in that damn pit. That's when Rough and Tumble and Sonic and Amy meet head to head. No longer in vehicles separating them, just face to face, one on one, or two on two, I guess I should say. And basically Amy and Sonic corner them, and they're like, alright, now you're gonna tell us where Eggman is and what are his plans. But Rough and Tumble, of course, still have that backpack with the liquid in it that Eggman gave them. And thinking that, of course, this is going to help them with their battle, they're like, we have a last resort here. Hit the button, all of a sudden, the capsules shatter, and the liquid falls straight on Rough and Tumble. What we all knew was gonna pass finally happened. Rough and Tumble get hit with the liquid, this virus, and instantly, it's like they are roboticized and non-responsive. So this is Sonic and Amy's, rather any character's, first glimpse at what this virus is capable of. So Sonic starts talking, you know, like he normally does, trying to stir a reaction out of them, trying to throw them off their game as he's fighting them. They're not responding at all. Rough and Tumble are basically zombies, and that's when Sonic kind of coins the phrase, they're zombots, something like that. Amy does not manage to score a hit, but we notice that Sonic is the first person to touch them. Like, he's leaping over them, doing what he normally does, being acrobatic and whatnot. He does, like, an attack, so does Amy on them. This is when we find out this virus is a lot more sinister than we initially thought. As in, Amy swings the hammer, it goes right through him, like, makes a hole in him. But it kind of just closes up, a la, like, Terminator 2 style, where it's like, the metal is liquid, but it reforms and stuff like that when it's damaged. It's showed up a lot in fiction, but, like, it's really interesting. It's like, it's kind of eerie to think about. They're not organic at all anymore, to the point where they can get completely blown in half and probably just come back together and be working again. So, yeah. This is when Sonic has been, after we learned that Sonic has, like, done a bunch of homing attacks to him, and it's like, no, the attacks aren't working, they just keep reforming, and that's when Sonic realizes, uh-oh, I'm covered in whatever this stuff is, and he starts yelling to Amy not to let them touch him. Sonic decides, oh, since I'm covered in this stuff anyway, I gotta do a last-ditch resort and, like, knock these guys out, get them out of here before Amy gets hit. So he knocks Rough and Tumble down into that bottomless pit, and yeah, Sonic's not in any good shape by the time this is all over. Only Amy's hammer got, you know, touched them, so I don't think it spread through the hammer. I believe it said non-organic things aren't affected by this goop, so Amy's fine. But yeah, Sonic says whatever it is, it's infectious, don't touch me, and Amy is kind of like, she's looking on in horror as Sonic is slowly but surely turning before her eyes. It's like something out of The Walking Dead. And the cliffhanger is he's like, what do we do now? And they're kind of just like, they don't know what to do. And we flash back to Eggman, who is he's just elated at what he's seen. The virus is working, and Sonic is the first person to be infected by this virus. What does this mean for future comics? I don't know. Who's gonna save Sonic? Like, what's gonna happen? Is there a cure for this? There has to be, right? There's gotta be. So, now that we've seen Patient Zero, which is Sonic, Eggman said, now we're gonna spread our virus trials throughout the world. The Zombot virus begins now. So next time, it's Sonic the Zombot, which could be scary considering if Sonic still has his signature speed and he's, like, if he's infected and he becomes full-on, like, roboticized virus, zombotted, if you will he still have his signature speed? Because if that's the case, he's gonna infect a lot of people very quickly. I don't know if that's... We haven't seen anybody with powers affected by the Zombot virus before, so this will be interesting to see where this goes from here. I'm trying to think, like, what are they gonna possibly be able to do to stop this? There's got to be a cure, right? So this is a good cliffhanger right here. This is where the book ends, by the way. So yeah, cliffhangers galore. And I know before we get to the review part of the comic here, I want to mention to everybody, I know there are a couple of you guys out there who are reading in advance and, like, looking into the comics that are coming up ahead in the future. Like, I've been getting messages about people saying, Wolfie, I know you're reading the comics, but did you know in comic number 18 that blah blah... I don't want to know. I don't want to know. Like, I want to read the comics as they come out. Like, I know the comic covers are coming out and stuff like that, and people have been reading ahead. Don't tell me. Let me be surprised when I read it for myself. I know you're excited. I know you want to share it with me, but you ruin it by telling me things like that in advance. Just let me read it when it comes out, so I can enjoy it more. So I've managed to avoid all types of spoilers thus far, but I just wanted to point that out, that if you guys feel the need to send me messages about future comics, don't. Like, I know I'm speculating here, and people who know, because they've read it in advance, are going, why doesn't he know that the virus does this, and that there's a cure later in issue number 19 or something? Don't tell me. Let me speculate. Let me read. Just let me read as it comes out. That's it. That's my little mini rant. Sorry. Anyway, So there we go. That is issue number 15 in a nutshell. I really like this one. Now, I'm going to point out something, and it seems like every single time, it's like Sonic Amy fans look for anything, right? It feels like if it's like when Sonic and Amy have like a conversation, a respectful conversation between two normal people, Sonic and Amy fans go ballistic. They're like, oh my god, they're talking. It's like, they're just talking. Let them talk. And everybody knows this. I'm not a big Amy fan because she's kind of a one-note joke. Every time she shows up, it's always Sonic, marry me, Sonic, marry me. You're not going to marry me, I'm going to swing my hammer at you and chase you around. It's a one-note joke that's been run into the ground a lot for me, personally. That's why I kind of like Boom Amy more, because even though she still has that thing for Sonic, it's not her whole existence. She can carry on a conversation with Sonic without talking about getting married or doing something and falling in love and all this stuff. And it's just like, no, they're just friends that may or may not have something more. Like, can we have more like that? That's what this comic seemed to do, which I'm gonna give big points to. That Sonic and Amy were able to carry on a conversation and actually talk seriously, because it's like, it's a serious moment where they're trying to go and find this abandoned Eggman base, and it's like they're talking about things that have happened, you know, since the big event that was Forces. So I like this book a lot. I'm trying to think. There were a lot of references. The Gets a Load of This was a good one. There's some really good dialogue with Eggman and Sonic seem to have really good written lines in this one. Good writing all around for all the characters. Again, they're getting better at their cliffhangers because, like I said before, I don't know what happens from here. Like, if this virus thing is gonna spread, I'm trying to think of any characters that would be okay from this. The only ones I can think of aren't in the comics at the moment, and that's Omega. And maybe Emerald, Gemerald, however you say his name, Cream's robot, would probably be fine. If Cream is even in existence in this comic, because she hasn't been referenced or talked about at all. Omega, I don't think has shown up at all yet. But as we know, the virus isn't a organic thing, so Omega would probably be fine. I'm sure Shadow would probably, he's organic enough. Curiouser and curiouser. But yeah, I'm glad they got to the virus infection already, though. I was hoping they weren't going to drag this thing out. And, you know, oh, I wonder who's going to get it first. I wonder who's going to get it first. Find out next issue. I wonder who's going to get it first. Next issue. But they actually got to it, and they finally got Rough and Tumble. We knew we were going to be the first people to get it. And then Sonic being the first hero to get it is not great. I'm hoping Amy manages to get the word out that this virus thing is a thing, so other Sonic characters don't get infected as well. If you have not read the future comics and you want to predict and make speculation as well in the comments, please feel free to do so below in the comment section. Hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the Rare Reaction, more videos like this one if you haven't already, and hit that bell so that way you know when these videos go live and also when I live stream reactions, because a lot of people tend to miss the streams or miss when videos go online. It's right next to the subscribe button on YouTube. There's a little bell icon. Hit that and put all notifications so that way you know when the next videos go live. That being said, for the plug part, I think I'm going to give this book right here, an 8.8 out of 10. Pretty good. I like this one a lot. I need to see what happens next issue because I am just dying to know what happens to Sonic at this point. And where do we go from here? Because, yeah, it sounds like Eggman's literally about to put the virus into production. With Sonic out of the picture, and news, it's gonna be very exciting. Anyway, let me know what you guys thought of this comic. If you have any spoilers, please keep it to yourselves. Like, I appreciate your excitement and enthusiasm, but honestly, I just want to read the books myself. Just want to read them myself. Let's see, I gave it anything I didn't like. Nah. So far, like I keep saying, these comics are done pretty well. I have yet to find really anything major to complain about. I'm honestly also excited for the Whisper and Tangled comic that's coming out sometime soon. I wonder what that spin-off's going to be based on. Like, I wonder if that's going to be like a story taking place during the events of Forces, or if it's going to be during the current timeline of events happening at this moment in the comics. But anyway, guys, that's going to be it for me today. Thank you all so very much for watching, and be sure to follow me on Twitter at WerewolfWolfie, that's werewolf, not werewolf, and I also stream on Twitch if you guys are curious. We got Smash Saturdays and Miscellaneous Game Fridays every week at 2 p.m. Central Daylight Time on Fridays and Saturdays. Be sure to tune in then. I will see you all next time, so stay tuned.